Trust. It's that thing we all want from a business, but have you ever stopped to think about how it's actually built? Like, what are the ingredients? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're going to dissect what makes a business trustworthy by looking at a real-world example that absolutely nails it. Let's jump in.
Okay, picture this, your big, beautiful flat-screen TV. You know, the center of your universe. Just eyes. Black screen. Nothing. That little bit of panic starts to creep in, right? You're thinking, who do I even call for this? Some giant, faceless company? Some random person I found online? The problem isn't just the broken TV. It's the broken trust. So, how do you find someone you can actually rely on?
And that brings us to the first and maybe most important piece of the puzzle. You see, trust doesn't usually start with a slick logo or a catchy slogan. More often than not, it starts with a real person.
Now, the company we're looking at, Picture Perfect TV, does something really smart right from the get-go. They don't just say we're the experts. Instead, they put a name and a face to that expertise. The founder, Craig Harrison. With over 30 years in the business, he's not just a brand, he's a person. And that immediately makes you feel like you're in good hands. And listen to the language people use to describe him. One customer called him a diagnostician. Think about that word. It's not just a fancy way of saying repair guy. It implies a deeper level of thinking, like a doctor for your electronics. It completely changes how you see the service. And here's the proof. It's one thing for a company to say their founder is an expert. It is a whole other level when a customer says it for them and uses a word like diagnostician. This single quote does more to build trust than any advertisement ever could. It validates everything.
So having an expert founder is a fantastic start. But that's just step one. Trust isn't something you create overnight, it's something you earn over time. And that brings us to our second pillar, showing a history of not just surviving, but evolving.
A company's history is more than just a date. Look at this timeline. It tells a story. They started way back in '85, but here's the key part. Around 2007, when flat-screen TVs took over, they pivoted. They didn't get left behind, they leaned into the new technology. That tells you they're not just old, they're smart and adaptable. That's a huge trust signal.
All right, so you've got an expert founder and a great story of adaptation. That's fantastic. But at some point, you have to back up the talk with real performance. And that's where our third pillar comes in, using cold, hard numbers.
Think about this number for a second. 20,000. That's not just a number on a web page. That's 20,000 broken TVs brought back to life. That's 20,000 customers who had a problem and got it solved. It makes the idea of experience feel real and tangible.
And then they get even more specific. A 90% completion rate for in-home repairs on LG TVs. Wow. That's not a vague promise of good service. That is a laser-focused, confident statement that screams, we know exactly what we are doing.
And on top of all of that, they make this clear pledge. Look at these points. They are basically reading your mind and answering all your worries before you even ask. Worried about hidden fees? Advice is free. Scared of getting overcharged? They stay within the quote. Hate waiting around all day? They promise to be punctual. It's brilliant.
So, you've got the expertise, the history, and the data. You've built a really strong case. But what's the final crucial piece that holds it all together? It's the unfiltered voice of the customer. That's the ultimate proof.
And here it is. Remember that service pledge we just talked about? Well, here's Steve Brown confirming it. On time and on quote. It's not just a company promise anymore. It's a customer verified fact. That's powerful.
Then you get quotes like this one from Nick. This is where a business goes from just being good to being memorable. They didn't just meet expectations, they went above and beyond. When you can do that, you turn customers into your biggest fans.
And as you read through the reviews, you start seeing these themes over and over. Knowledgeable, professional, quick. It's not just one person saying it, it's a chorus. This consistency is what shows you the quality isn't a fluke. It's just how they operate.
And in the end, it all comes down to this. A simple, direct, powerful statement from Wayne. Highly recommend this company. That's the goal. That's the mic drop. It's the culmination of all that hard work building trust.
So let's zoom out. We've just walked through how this one local business builds an incredible amount of trust. But what's really cool is that it's not magic. There's a formula here, an actual blueprint that any business can learn from.
So here it is broken down, the 4 pillars of trust. First, you anchor your business in a real expert. Second, you tell a story of experience and, importantly, adaptation. Third, you make concrete promises and you back them up with hard numbers. And finally, you let your happy customers provide all the proof you need. It's a powerful cycle.
When you boil it all down, this whole thing was never really about fixing TVs, was it? It's a masterclass in empathy. It's about looking at a customer, understanding every single fear and doubt they might have, and then systematically, piece by piece, making those doubts disappear. It's a blueprint for building a fortress of trust. And it kind of makes you ask, how can we all apply that same blueprint to build a more trustworthy world?